All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Thursday, December 16th, 2021, and like we did last week, we went over the playoff clinching scenarios, the playoff scenarios for Week 15, and there's a few this week as well that we can go over. There's several more than last week. There was like 3 or 4 last week. There's quite a few. I think there's, let's see, 1, 2, probably about 5 or 6 teams this week could do something, though a few teams seem a little unlikely, and more than likely they won't. But hey, if crazier things have happened this season, it's been a wild one. So thank you so much for whoever watched last week. Same as this one. Let me know what you think. Who's going to clinch and whatnot down below, and if you think Let me know what you think. All right, let's just look at this. For the AFC, nobody has clinched yet for the AFC. The Patriots could actually clinch a playoff berth this week if they were able to somehow beat the Indianapolis Colts. That should be a pretty good game this Saturday. We'll be live reacting to that one. That should be fun to watch. So essentially, the following things have to happen in one of the 6 situations they could clinch. They have to win. Miami has to lose or tie. In 5 of the situations, Cleveland has to lose. And then in the first 2, it would be Baltimore loses. And then Pittsburgh would lose or tie in the third one. Then 2 more Baltimore loses. And then it would be Cincinnati lost in the first. I'll just do it more. Well, it's working. You see how this gets convoluted. Here's basically one line. Number 1, New England wins, Miami loses, Cleveland loses, Baltimore loses, Cincinnati loses, and Kansas City loses. Or Miami loses, Cleveland loses, Baltimore loses, Denver loses, or the Chargers lose. Of course, New England has to win for any of these to matter. Miami loses or ties. Cleveland loses. Pittsburgh loses or ties. Denver loses or ties. And the Chargers lose. So you see how it gets convoluted for the Patriots. And my opinion on that is more than likely they won't be able to clinch this week. It'll have to be the game against the Bills is when they'll have to sink their teeth in and see if they can take the division because, or at least clinch a playoff spot, because this is pretty crazy. There are other complex scenarios for the Patriots that involve multiple ties, and yeah, it's a crazy thing for them. One of the least likely ones to clinch. Titans have, there's this simple enough. They control their own destiny. They can win the division this weekend with a win and an Indy loss. So they need the Patriots to take care of business against the Colts, and if the Patriots were to beat them and then Tennessee wins their game against Pittsburgh, they win the division, and they can be quite happy. They can kind of take it easy, breathe a sigh of relief that they, they're not going to go 9-8 or 9-7-1, which is a funny joke if you're a Titans fan, but because the 9-7 curse. But yeah, to me, theirs is very likely to happen. They just need New England to do their thing, and they got to beat Pittsburgh. That seems pretty likely. Oh, never mind. This is the most likely one. I forgot all about the Cardinals because they play the Lions. The Cardinals will be a playoff team this week. All they got to do is beat the lowly Lions on Sunday. Hopefully they can pull that off. Hopefully that isn't the upset of the year, which would be funny, but seems unlikely. By the way, no one in the NFC is clinched yet either, so those were all the AFC teams. Basically, just the Patriots and Titans can clinch this weekend. Now for the NFC, of course, the Cardinals are back at it. Here's their scenarios. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win. They win and they're in. Not the division, not yet. Or they don't have to necessarily win. They could have the following situations arise for them. It could be a New Orleans loss or tie, plus a Minnesota loss or tie, or a New Orleans loss or tie and a Philly-Washington tie, or it could be a New Orleans loss or tie, a Philly loss, Atlanta loss or tie, Green Bay win or tie. Or you can see how it gets kind of convoluted. New Orleans loss or tie, San Francisco tie, Los Angeles Rams loss, Minnesota Rams lose, Minnesota Rams, Vikings lose or tie, Philly Washington tie, or Minnesota loses or ties, San Francisco loses, or more than likely all they got to do is win and they get in. That's most likely what will happen. They play Detroit. It's not much of a thing. Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, I was looking down when I first read. They play the New York Giants, so they have quite the little easy path in. They can clinch the NFC East with the following situation. So the Cowboys can win the division here this weekend if the following things happen. If Dallas was to win and Philly and Washington somehow tie, then they get in. They win the division. Not only do they get in, they win the division outright. Or this following situation: a Dallas win plus a Washington loss plus Dallas would clinch a strength of victory tiebreaker over Philly, I guess. So if Dallas wins and Washington loses, I think is how that reads. So, okay, yeah. So if Washington and Philly tie, that's fine. Or if Washington loses, that's fine. Dallas can win the division. If Philly wins the game, it kind of messes everything up for Dallas, regardless of the win. Let's see. They can clinch a playoff berth if they win with a New Orleans loss or tie, or if Dallas wins and San Francisco loses, Dallas ties, Minnesota loses or ties, New Orleans loses or ties, and Atlanta loses or ties. This is so fast. I'm saying this all. I apologize for how fast I'm talking, but most of this stuff doesn't matter. I think Dallas has a pretty good shot at just taking their division, or at least just getting a playoff berth. We'll see. And for Green Bay has an easy one. Green Bay also is probable because all they got to do is win and they're in. They play the Baltimore Ravens, and I don't think Lamar's available quite yet. I'm not certain about that. I'll know more Saturday. Green Bay does clinch the division, though, with a win, tie, or a Minnesota loss or tie. So basically, they can control their own destiny, and even then, they can get helped if they lose, if Minnesota loses. So that's interesting. They can clinch a playoff berth, which I don't really think it's super relevant, but if New Orleans loses or ties, San Francisco loses, or the following other 5 situations, I don't think it really matters. I think they can just win the division this week. Rams, another team. Let's see here. Rams can clinch a playoff berth. They're kind of like the Patriots in the NFC. Like they have like 5 or 4 very convoluted situations where they could win, but they also need help from a bunch of other situations to get into the playoffs and clinch a spot. If they win, New Orleans loses or ties, Minnesota loses or ties, or they win, New Orleans loses or ties, Washington and Philly tie, or the Rams win, Minnesota loses or ties, Philly, Washington tie, or what? Oh, okay. Rams tie, Minnesota loses, New Orleans loses, and Atlanta loses or ties. So, yeah, like I said, kind of a convoluted situation here. Let's see. The Tampa Bay is the final team that has a playoff clinching scenario this weekend. Let's see. They play the Saints, so that's a tough game for them. They're not that good against them. Tampa Bay can control their own destiny and clinch the division this weekend with the win versus the Saints or a tie. They can clinch a playoff berth pretty simply with a Minnesota loss or tie, San Francisco loss, or Minnesota loss or tie, Philly Washington tie, or a San Francisco loss plus a Philly Washington tie. So that's pretty much it. So Tampa can clinch, Rams can clinch, Green Bay can clinch, the Cowboys can clinch, Arizona, Tennessee, and New England. So 7 teams this week have a chance at punching their ticket, whether it be through a division title or just a playoff berth. I'm sure that doesn't really matter to them too much, but so that's pretty much going to be it for this one. Here it's going to be, there's not much else to discuss. This is just going over it. Which team do I think is most likely to clinch? I think the Titans are very likely. I think the Cardinals will. I think the Packers will, and I also think Tampa will. So I think 4 of the 7 probably clinch, and I have questions about the Cowboys. They're my iffy team. So I think 5 of 7 probably pull it off. I don't know about the Rams and the Patriots. They need so much extra help to actually have it happen. Theirs will probably come next week when they're able to clinch. And it's easy enough as just a simple win. So we'll see about that. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Both things help us grow. Leave your thoughts down below. I'll be sure to comment as soon as I can back on what you have to say. So I appreciate that. All right. Well, that's the video. I know. All right, that's Week 15 NFL playoff clinching scenarios. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Peace out. See you Thursday night football. Woo! And Saturday. Woo! Peace.